CMA survey coding review. Basically what we're setting up here is a review of some of the old codes. We want to look at some alphanumeric codes and some of the new command codes that we have available to us through Civil 3D. This is not intended to be training. It's basically an overview so that we can see some of the benefits that we can have and get when we go to alphanumeric codes and some of the new command codes. So let's jump in and explore some of the new benefits. All right, alphanumeric survey codes with the new command codes. I believe some of the pros on the field codes are the alphanumeric codes. Let's call them the new code sets. They're easy to learn. The new code sets will be eliminating duplication of the existing codes that we already have. Some of the new code sets will have less limitations for coding out in the field. So you see things, you can pick it up, you can add wood fence to fence, things like that, steel fence, things of that nature. So the next thing we're going to look at here is command codes. So curve segmental codes. So you can begin a curve and end a curve with multiple shots in between. So for example, we've got a curved sidewalk and we want to shoot that every 25 feet. And it's curved, nice winding around the site. And we go in there and we can turn on these segmental codes for curves, and we can take these nice smooth radiuses around the sidewalk or the site, not giving us that mitered look that we're familiar with if we're just taking a shot, or we got to go back in and do the C3 and take 3 shots, activate the C3 command, take the next 3 shots, so on and so forth. So this will eliminate the C3 code that we are familiar with up to this point. We also have the close command. So for example, you've got a concrete pad out there, 4 corners, you pick up the 4 corners, well then you can type in close at the last point and it'll automatically close that figure line for you. We have automatic begins on feature line prefix matches. So if you've got back a curve, it's going to begin that automatically based on your figure prefix library that you have set up. I think some of the cons are going to be training and setting up the mapping to work inside of Civil 3D. I don't think that'll take us very long, but that's just some of the cons that we need to talk about. Keep in mind there's more command codes available to us. These are just some of the highlighted ones. I think that'll save us time out in the field and in the office. So as we dig into this more, we'll see some more of these commands and we'll talk more about them. All right, at this point, what we're going to be doing here is we're going to review some of the methods and the commands. We're going to get into some of the drawings. We're going to take a look at how these work and what they're about. So we're going to review new codes with the old ones. We still have the ability to use the old codes for old projects, and we'll talk a little bit about how we can do that. We're going to work with and review field data to show the new format, the new methods, that sort of thing. The new methods of importing the field book via a PNEZD format instead of the old traditional field book file format. So this will allow us to move away from that field book format as well. Side note, I think if we move into these new codes and things like that, we can have examples and code lists put into some sort of book, and we can publish that. And that'll give examples on what to do when you get into certain situations, what kind of codes you have, that sort of thing. So everybody starts new, old, all of us, we can go out there, we have this book in hand, we'll be able to quickly learn, adapt, and move towards this new method. So the moment we've all been waiting for, we're going to dig into Civil 3D and we're going to start putting this stuff to use. All right, I've got a drawing set up. We called it demo. We use the DWT file. It gives us all the things that we're going to need for codes and things of that nature. So basically the environment is ready to go. So let's take a look at the environment quickly. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to look at the points. Let's go to the description key file. Basically I've got a copy of the Omaha one here, and what we're going to look at is basically we've got codes in here. These are the familiar codes that we're looking at here, 101, 102s, that sort of thing. Now if you get down towards the bottom, here's some of the new codes. And this is how we can use the old codes with the new codes. So basically what I'm looking at here and what I'm thinking we can do is we'll create the ENA Omaha like we've got it now. We'll go in there and add the alphanumeric codes that we want along with the old codes so that you can use the one code set for the new methods that we're doing. And then if we have old methods or drawings that we need to go back to and work with the old ways, I guess, if you'd like to say that, we still have the ability to do that without having to manipulate or move or jostle around trying to figure out this file or that file. So it should be seamless. So anyhow, with that being said, we've got some of the new codes here for like manhole for gas, manhole sewer, sanitary sewer, that sort of thing. So simply put, the description key file is basically just a tool to map the codes that we take in the field and apply the proper style, so it gives you the look and proper format, so it gives you the description for your points, what layer to go on, so forth, so on and so forth. So this is the behind scenes. We don't need to worry about it too much. This is something I will set up. Next, we'll go to the survey tab inside of tool space, and we're going to look at the figure prefix library. Basically, the figure prefix library allows you to run the line work for the back of curve and that sort of thing. So quick look at that. We'll look at this here. Basically, again, with the point description key file, the description key files, we've got the new with the old. The same goes here. So we can see here we've got some of the new stuff. So we got tops and toes, we got sidewalk, sanitary sewer, that sort of thing, mixed in with the old codes as well. So we have the ability to work with the old information and work with the new information all in the same drawing if we'd like, or the same project. So we're set up to do the old methods, the classics, and then we're ready to rock for the new stuff. All right, now what we're looking at here is some of the new commands, those line work command codes that we were talking about earlier. So basically, here's some of the special codes for begin. So we type in B for begin, C for continue. The begin use and the continues aren't really going to need to be used as often as we've done in the past. We won't need to do a bunch of recalling of points either, and we'll look at the reason why some of those and why we don't need to use those here in a moment. Some of the new things I think can be real beneficial to us is these segmental codes for lines and for curves. So here's our begin curve command, PC. Here's the NPT, and then what we can do is we can take as many points as you want in between that PC and the PT. So that speeds up a lot of time for us, gives us that smooth curves around the sidewalk example that we used earlier, that sort of thing. All right, here's the close command right here, so we can close that concrete pad or whatnot, so we can close back. We don't have to recall that point or remember that point. Very, very helpful, speeds things up in the field. Also have the ability to do horizontal and vertical offset. So if we're running a bunch of curb and gutter in a parking lot, maybe it's all half a foot high, we can run the gutter line and then do a horizontal offset and a vertical offset, and then we've eliminated some of the points that we need for a typical curb section. It's just things that we can take advantage of if we choose to, using it in the right place at the right time. So again, we can change these to what we need them to be, but I think working with some of the survey guys in the survey department currently, we've got them set up kind of the way we want them. If we don't, let us know. We'll make them happen. All right, at this point, we're looking at some of the field books. We've got a total of 3 of them. This is the first one. So basically, this is a PNEZD file format, basic file format. It can be opened up in TextPad, Notepad, that sort of thing. It's not that field book file anymore. So basically, we're looking at an ASCII file, if you want to call it that. So you've got your point number, your northern, easting, your elevation, and your field code description. So right here, we're looking at back of curb. So here we've got back of curb shot, back of curb. We're going to start that PC, and we got all these different curve points along the that back of curb there, and then we end it with the PT. And now we're going to go across the street, so we type in the end there, and then or we could type in BC1, BC2, BC3, BC4, depends on how we're doing it, the methods that we're taking. If we're doing cross sections, that sort of thing, you may want to put the 1, the 2, the 3, 4. And then the GL is the gutter line. So here we go again. So we're starting that PC, and then we're across the street. We got the gutter going. Now we got the back of curb going again, and now we're back and forth till we get down towards the end of our curve. And then we add the PT. Then we also have some ground shots. So this is the root of the code right here is GS for ground shot, and then we can determine what that ground shot is. Is it actually ground or dirt, or is it asphalt pavement, that sort of thing. So we got the one code, the ground shot, and then we can add that secondary identifier to identify it if it's asphalt, if it's dirt. At this point, you can see here that we've got some back of curb, and then we have a space. And then we're defining it yet one more time. So we got 1 point, and it's got 2 codes basically. So we're telling it it's back a curb, and then we're going to start a sidewalk there, and we're going to begin that sidewalk. Go back to the gutter line, and then we've got sidewalk 2 there. So basically, what I'm getting at here is we got 1 point, and it's got 2 identifiers, and 2 feature lines are being run off of that. So I've got a sidewalk figure line or line work coming off of the same point. So it's got the one point number, but I got 2 figures pulling off that, or 2 lines. So back a curb and sidewalk. So that eliminates the ability or the need for the recalling of points. So therefore, you're not painting up the sidewalk, doing that sort of thing, trying to notate that in your field book. Very powerful. All right, we're looking at the second book. Over here, we're looking at a fence. So we got fence 1 and fence 2, and then we're telling it what this fence is. Is it wood? Is it steel? So we got the WD there. So we've got WD for wood, and then over here, we're going to call these PTs for posts. Then we go to a certain area here where we want to know where that gauge is. So we're going to do the same thing, double code this thing. So 15, we've got fence 2, then we've got the post, and then we've got the gate sitting there. So when we bring it in, we can look at the drawing, we can make the decision. We don't have to notate it in the drawing. Field book file, I guess. Don't have to draw it in the field book file, that sort of thing, out in the field, that sort of thing. So here we go down 4018. We've got some trees in here. I abbreviated it. Just said T for tree. And then, so we got the 1 code, right? We got what, about 20 to 30 codes of trees right now. We got 1 code for tree. So I type in T, that's my code, and then I'm going to tell it what it is. I'm going to tell it it's 24 inches, 30 inches, that sort of thing. And then I can even go as far as telling me what kind of tree is it. Is it oak trees? Things of that nature. What we need to look at is when we go outside and work in the field, we need to be prepared for anything that comes our way. So we got somebody coming at us, we want to know what kind of trees we have. 30-inch, we want to know if they're the 30-inch oak trees. Well, then we got to come up with some special kind of 800 code, and then we got to map it, do all this stuff in the field, and then we got to do all this stuff in the office. All we got to do here is we got to type in T, 30, and then put oak behind it. We're golden. All right, this is book 3. Basically, what we're looking at here is a manhole, sanitary sewer. Then we're going to tell it what size that manhole is. It's 48 inches. And then we're also going to tell it what kind of line work is coming out of that. So we're telling it it's a sanitary 8-inch main coming out of there. So as we go to the next one, it's 48 inches. Now we're going sanitary 8-inch, and then we're pulling out of that thing at sanitary 10-inch. And then we go down here, we move down to the gas warning sign, and then we tell it what kind of information's on that. It's a MUD warning sign. So then we go to the gas valve, and we tell it what kind of a gas valve, what size it is perhaps. These might be pie in the skies here. We may not be shooting infrastructure under the ground, knowing the sizes, that sort of thing, but we have the ability to do it, and that's what I'm showing. Here's some of the ground shots now. We took and looked at that here earlier. So here's the code again, ground shots. And now what is it? Asphalt. All right, let's bring in those books. Notice this here, we're not going to be using the field book file type. So I'm going to drop this down. I'm going to do a point file. I'm going to go out and find those 3 point files that we were just looking at. Brings in the information here. I specify the type. So at this point, we're just finishing up on the import, looking at the format, hitting the next button, turning on a couple settings, making this thing happen, hit finish, brings in the books. So at this point, let's kind of move around here and take a look at some of the objects that we've got in here. So we've got trees in here, and you can see that they in the description when it comes in, there's no extra labels involved. There's one tree symbol. It scales up along the coding that we've put in. So we've got some background mapping going on. So if you got a 24-inch tree, it scales it up properly. Again, one symbol scales up properly. The label style for that point is to use the actual description. So it's telling me it's a 24-inch tree, 30-inch tree, so on and so forth. So basically that's the style. Let's put the text in there. We can manipulate it. So remember, keep in mind the fieldbook files that we're looking at. Here's our back at curb. So we got that one code, back at curb. Here's our PC. PC starts. We've got multiple points along that curve, and then it ends. So basically what's going on here is it's taking a best fit through here. So if you got good geometry when your points are being laid out in the field, you're going to have a nice curve through here. You go to the other side, you got the same thing. There's your PC, continues down. Here's that double point thing that we're talking about. So we're at the back of curb, and then we're also going with the sidewalk shot. 1 point, 2 codes, 2 feature lines. So you got your sidewalk coming off there and your curb. Back of curb is continuing on. Same thing goes here, same sidewalk shot. Different sidewalk 2, so then that's coming out, going out and around. And we'll look at our ground shots now. We had a ground shot command or code in there, so if we take a look at the properties on that, we can take and see the raw and actually see what we're talking about here in a little bit more detail. So here we go. We've got the raw description ground shot, and then we told it it was a ground, dirt or whatever, lack of a better term here. And then we've got some coding on here so that it'll tell us what that is. Now, if you go back up here and you see the asphalt, you've got some asphalt shots in here as well, but that is also using that same ground shot. So you got your ground shot and then your asphalt. So it's coding that up, and then the label style for that point is actually being placed in the drawing, so there's no extra effort to notate things of that nature. This is the sanitary sewer. So we got our sanitary sewer manhole code, and we're telling it it's 48-inch manhole, and then we're telling it what kind of pipe is running out of that. You go down to the next one, it's the same thing. So you've got sanitary sewer manhole, it's 48 inches. You got a 8-inch coming in and a 10-inch going out. Here's our inlet, same thing, double code. So we got a back of curb 2 with a storm inlet. So that feature line continues out. This feature line connects up to this 1 point. No recalls, that sort of thing, right? No painting on the concrete. Then we're running out and around, tying back in, and then continuing on down the road. Same goes with this fence. So we got our fence, fence 2 code running. These are posts. And then we get up to this area here, and there's a double point here, or a 1 point double code. So we got a fence post and then the gate. So you can kind of see right here without a doubt that, hey, in between these 2 points, that's where the gate is. Maybe there's sidewalk running off of that as well, so you can code it up. Anyhow, that's what we've got. All this stuff can be converted over to your brake lines to start to create your surface just like we do today. So anyhow, if you have questions, please let me know.